Hi everyone, welcome to cybercareercoach.com. I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to set up a resume online using WordPress and a template called ZBizCard, which makes it super easy to set up this online resume. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So there are a couple steps that we need to do, but first I'm going to show you what this is going to look like. So this is a quick resume that I put together using the domain name rustysresume.com, and I filled out the information for this theme and created a bunch of content to go in there. So this is what it looks like, and we got a contact form so people can send a request for either references or more information or whatever the case may be. We've got a place to list your certifications, awards, and additional information, all of your education and training, and then experience in one location. And then on the main page, you basically have everything. So what we've got is the ability to integrate your social networks and upload a picture of yourself. So, and I've also got a place where you can download a sample resume or your actual resume. So this is pretty easy to do, but I'm going to walk you through how we do this step by step. So the first thing that we're going to do is we have to purchase a domain name. So let's go through that process really fast. Now, I use a service called namecheap.com. There are lots of services out there. The one-in-one domains, GoDaddy, of course, but I have an affiliate link with namecheap.com, and of course, if you decide to use that link, I get a little commission. It's not very much, but anyways, namecheap.com is what I use, and you can reach my link by going to cybercareercoach.com/namecheap. So anyways, if you go to Namecheap, you can just search for the domain names that you want. That's the first page that comes up is the domain search. And so I had searched for the domain Rusty's Resume. But you could easily do I'm sure that this is probably taken. Let's see. So billsresume.com is taken, but billsresume.net is available. You could also get pretty specific if you wanted to say, if you wanted to have a let's see. You could do something like IT expert, John Smith. So it's really up to you about what you want the name to be. You may even get lucky and find that your name is available at .com. But there's all these different domains you can use. You can use the .me domains, your state, .us. So your domain name is really up to you. It's pretty simple to buy a domain name. You just basically choose the domain you want. You click on the Add to Cart button, View Cart, and then you confirm your order, and they take you through an ordering process. You can use PayPal.com to order, and I think they have some other options as well. So Namecheap's pretty straightforward and easy to use. So that's the first step. The next step is you need to purchase hosting. So as far as hosting goes, there are tons of hosts out there. There are some free hosts. Usually they run some ads on your site or something like that. There are several. WordPress has a free blog that you can set up, so where you can use. You don't have to register a domain name if you do that. You can actually use, your WordPress account .wordpress.com or something like that. I prefer to use a paid domain because that way I can use my own domain name, and I have more control over what I do with it. I actually have my own hosting set up specifically for this purpose. that so you can. Let me back up. So there's a lot of companies that you can go to get hosting. Bluehost.com. I actually have an affiliate link there. Again, that's cybercareercoach.com/Bluehost. But I also have my own hosting company that I provide for a fee, a monthly fee, and that's set up specifically for hosting resumes. The other thing about my host that I have is a certain percentage, like 20%, I think is what we're doing. 20% of all the profits from the web hosting at cybercareercoach.com goes to the cybercareercoach.com or the Cybercareer Scholarship Fund. So this is one thing that I've been wanting to set up for a while. I set up a scholarship fund, so when we reach a certain number that we haven't yet established, a couple $1,000s, probably like $2,000 to $2,500. Once we reach that amount, we're going to set up a scholarship application form on the website. So you can go and fill out the scholarship form, and hopefully, if you win the scholarship, you'll get the scholarship to help pay for college or whatever. So it's just a way that I can give back. And so, I'd appreciate if you did, take advantage of our hosting. But if you don't want to do that, it's fine. Bluehost is great. HostGator, there are several, and you could search around and find one that works for you. But anyways, for this tutorial, we're going to use my hosting. So we already purchased a domain name. So now we have to set up hosting. So to do that, I've got, if you go to my website, cybercareercoach.com, if you click on hosting, it'll take you to my my hosting website. So you choose, domain is what we're going to set up hosting for, and we're going to choose the monthly resume hosting. So there's 0 setup fees, no contracts, cancel anytime, 20% of all hosting profits benefit Cybercareer Coach Scholarship Fund. So I'm going to click order, and there are the terms of service. It tells you what you can and can't do. And then we're going to fill out all this information. So I'm going to skip ahead on that, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, once you've got your account all set up, it'll take you back to this page here. You'll get an email that has all the information that you need to set up your cPanel, basically. So now that we've created the domain name and we've purchased a host, we'll have to update some DNS information over at Namecheap.com. So let's go log into Namecheap. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is once you get into Namecheap, you're going to go to your dashboard or manage domains. You're going to choose the domain that you want to manage. In this case, we're managing rustysresume.com. Then you're going to choose a domain name server setup. When you go in here, you're going to specify custom DNS servers, and these will be the DNS servers that are provided you in the email of the account that you set up with whatever host. So when you set up your hosting account, they will send you the name servers that you'll need to input here. And once you have those name servers set up, once you enter those, they will take you to the domain when you type in the URL. This is what redirects your host to your URL to your hosting account. So once that's done, basically you'll type in your URL and it'll take you to a default WordPress setup. So I'm going to take you step by step sort of through how that process works when you first what you will get when you go to that website is nothing because you haven't set anything up yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up WordPress. I'm going to walk you through that step by step. So to get access to your account, you'll type in your domain name /cPanel. And what cPanel is that's the location of your management for your domain host. So it's going to do a redirect, and you'll have to log in. with the username and password that you set up when you set up your account. Okay, so the cPanel is pretty cool. This is there are some video tutorials that'll walk you through setting up most of this stuff, but just to make this quick and easy, if you go down to the bottom, scroll down, you'll see that you have several items that you can manage and work on. What we're concerned with are a couple things. First thing we want to do is we want to set up either an email account or an email forwarder. Now, I recommend a forwarder because with a forwarder, you can just forward the emails that come from this account to the email address you're already using, and that way you don't have to set up another client or something like that. So we're just going to do that. We'll set up a forwarder. This is pretty straightforward. You click on forwarders, and it'll open up the forwarders page, and then you'll go to add forwarder, and you'll type in the name that you want to use for the before the @ sign. So, for instance, for me, I just put in Rusty at rustysresume.com. You could put in whatever you wanted there, and then you put the email address that you want that forwarded to. So, once that's done, you'll go back to home and you'll scroll down to the anyways, if you go down here and choose WordPress and choose install, it'll take you through several options for setting up WordPress. Now, it automatically will generate a password for you. You can change that password,
which is on the far right-hand side.
I've already done this, but we'll walk you through the process. So you want to leave this as HTTP because in order to do SSL, you have to have a static IP address, and you don't want to fool with that right now. You choose your domain that you want to have it set up for. So obviously that's going to be pre-populated. You can actually install it in a subdirectory. This is really up to you. I've done both, and for this purpose, it's probably just easier to leave it at the root, not to put a subdirectory in there. It'll automatically generate a database name for you, and it'll create prefixes for those databases. And this is where you would name your site. So I named mine Rusty's Resume, but you can name it, whatever. I recommend staying close to that. Mention resume in the site name, and then the site description. Now this is interesting here. So this is the place where you can put a lot more information here. And what I recommend that you do with the site description, and you can edit this later, is put your credentials and certifications that you have, or if you have any degrees or that kind of stuff, because basically this is going to show up beneath your site name. So if we go over to, well, let's see, I'm using that page right now, so we'll do that later. But so if I were to put my name, so basically what we do is something like this. We'd say the site name. You could call it Rusty's Resume, or you could just say Rusty Wilson, and that's probably fine if you just said your name there. And then here you would put your credentials, like if you had a CCNA, and I like to separate them by space and a pipe, and then MCSE or any degrees that I had, I would probably put first. Something like that. So, and then you would go to, just ignore the enable multi-site for now. You don't need that. And then the admin username is what you would want to log in with. Now here I recommend using your email address, or the email address that you set this account up with. The reason being is because it's just easier to keep track of the email addresses, but you can use a regular username, that's fine. But it's usually something that's easy to remember. So you can use your email address or username or whatever. Then you can create, you can use the generated password, or you can create your own password. And then I also recommend that you check this the limit login attempts. So what this does is it'll lock someone out if they try to, basically hack your site through a brute force attack. Another thing that I recommend is that you select the auto upgrade. Now, what this will do is once your resume is set, you probably won't be editing the resume a lot, and so if you auto upgrade WordPress, it'll keep your WordPress installation more secure. The other thing you can do is turn on this notification or disable the notification checkbox, so you'll get notifications if any of your plugins need to be updated or things like that. And then the last thing you'd want to do is to enter an email address where you want the installation details to be mailed. Probably the same email address that you had set up before in the forwarder. Okay, once that's done, we're basically done with the control panel. And now we're going to log into our WordPress administration. So to access your WordPress administration, we're going to go to your website address, in this case rustysresume.com/wp-admin. And that will take you to the login page to your WordPress. And then you want to log in with the information that you used before when you set up your account. And that's going to take you to what's called the dashboard. So the first thing that we're going to do is you're going to have some default content that's built in already, and I like to delete that stuff and get rid of it so it doesn't look like your website is new. So I've already done that, but you'll see there's a post that's called Hello World that'll be listed under posts. So if I click on posts, you'll see all of these posts that I've built here, and then there's also pages, and there's a page that's built called a sample page. So if you just delete those pages, then they'll be gone. You don't have to worry about that. So once we've got WordPress installed, we're going to do some setup in WordPress. The first thing that I like to do is change the permalinks. Now to do that, you'll go down to Settings, and then scroll down to Permalinks. And what this does is this changes your structure to post name. So the normal name uses these page IDs or post IDs. It just makes sense to do it this way. So we're going to use post name as the permalink setting, and we'll save that setting. The next thing that we want to change is we want to set up some of our profile data. So if you go to Users, and your profile will be there. Originally, it doesn't have a whole lot of information about who you are. So a lot of this stuff will be blank when you come in here. The next thing that we want to do after we've set up our profile, we need to install a theme. Now, the theme that I've chosen to use is a free theme, and there are several resume themes that are paid. So the way to install a theme is to go to Appearance, and then Add New. And so when you click Add New, you'll get the option to search for a theme. And you can either type resume, and it'll come up with the ZBiz card theme, or you can type in ZBiz card, and it'll come up as well. So of course it's already installed. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Details, and you'll see that that once it's installed, we've got the ability to customize it. Here's your site title, and here's your tagline information that I was telling you about before. And you'll notice as you change this information, it'll update on the right-hand side. So it gives you a view of what it looks like. The picture that's here, this header image, is an image that I chose. I changed the default image. So you'll just upload a good headshot there. And then this is the background image of the page. And then you can set up the navigation. And for navigation, I have this main menu that's set up here. And then for the static pages, I leave this set as your latest posts. And then you've got a widget sidebar. And in this widget sidebar, this is where you could add different widgets. And when you click on add a widget, it gives you all of these options. But right now I have the theme Z social media buttons and the search button. So I can search my resume, or someone who's looking at the site can search the resume. So once that's set up, the next step would be to do some edits to the theme. Now, editing a theme in WordPress is interesting. So you can mess up your theme pretty easily. So what I'm about to show you is not for the faint of heart. You may not want to do it if you don't feel comfortable with it. But if you follow the steps that I show you, I think you'll get through it and you won't have any issues. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to edit a file within the theme called archive.php. And if you go to Appearance and then Editor, and if I'm someplace else in the dashboard, you'll see if I hover over Appearance, it gives me these options. I'm going to choose Editor, and the Editor brings up the Edit Themes button, or the Edit Themes window. And then I'm going to choose Archives. As you can see, there's a lot of, looks like a bunch of code or whatever. Well, in this third line over here, you'll see that in this spot, there was wording there that said archive of, or archive, or something like that. But basically, in that location is what showed up when you clicked on your website and you clicked on each one of these categories that I have set up, that we're going to set up in a minute. It puts that at the beginning, and it just didn't seem to make sense for it to say archive of experience or archive of education. So I didn't want that to show up, so I removed that from the theme. Now, something to keep in mind, so all you do is just delete the information between those two quotes, single quotes, and then hit update file. One thing to keep in mind, though, is if you update your theme, you may have to go back in and change these settings. So it might be a good idea to write down where they are. Or you can go back and watch this video again and you probably get pretty close to it. So once we've done that, the next thing we want to do is we've got two other places that we want to edit. Loop.php and loop-single.php. We'll go into loop.php first. And so for this one, what I've done is I've actually just commented this line out. And to do that, a less than symbol, an exclamation point, 2 dashes, and a space before this line that already existed. And at the end of it, I hit a space, dash, dash, and then a greater than symbol. And what I'm doing here is I'm telling it not to display information that would show up on a post. Also for loop single, it's very similar. You'll see that information is commented out as well. And so you just change that information, add the comment information right there at the beginning and at the end, and then choose update file. And that'll take care of that. The next thing we want to install is a contact form plugin. And the contact form plugin I've chosen is a plugin called Contact Form Clean and Simple. So if you go to plugins and then choose add new, and then do a search for, let's just type contact form clean. Okay, contact form clean and simple comes up. Basically, you would just choose install now, which would show up here, and then it'll bring you to another page where you can choose to activate that theme. If I go to plugins, you'll see the theme is already installed. So we'll click settings, and it'll take us to the clean and simple contact form settings, which incidentally also show up under settings, contact form. Once we're there, the first thing that I would recommend that you do is sign up for Google's reCAPTCHA. So this is pretty simple. So Google has a reCAPTCHA plugin where it's basically you just sign in. If you already have a Google account, sign in. If you don't, just sign up for a Google account. It's absolutely free. And then register for a reCAPTCHA account. And what that's going to do, it's going to give you a couple of keys. It'll give you a public key and a private key that you'll use to do your CAPTCHA, to set up your CAPTCHA information. So as you can see, I've got a public key and a private key here. So then you'll set up the email address that you want emails to go to when they fill out this form and hit submit. I've got a confirm email address, so basically they have to type their email address in twice. You can, I guess, override the from address if you want and change it to something else. You can change the subject to whatever you want, and then you can type a message that you want the user to see to explain how to use the form, and then you can. This is what they'll see after they send the message. And then here's some styling things that you can do to make the form look a certain way. Now, the reCAPTCHA theme, I like to use the clean theme. There's also a white theme, red, and then black glass. I just use clean because clean seems to match pretty good with the theme that I'm using. So this is important. Now you want to get this. This is called a short code, and so you'll need this short code when you put the contact form on your contact page. And we're going to do that right now. So the easiest thing to do is to highlight that information, right-click, and hit copy. Now you've got it saved. And then we'd go to Pages and hit Add New. Now, instead of Add New, I've already created a contact page. And so basically, when you hit Add New, you would just type in the name of the page, Contact Me in this case. And then when you leave that and go down here, it will automatically create this permalink for you. But you can edit the permalink as well if you want it to just say contact, or contact us, or contact your dash name, or whatever. So you have that option. So then the next thing is you just type a message in here, or type in what you want the contact page to say first. And mine just basically says, if you would like references or more information, actually, if you would like references or more information, please complete the attached form. If your need is immediate, please feel free to call me at, and I've got a dummy number in here. But something that you might think about doing is Google Voice. If you don't already have a Google Voice telephone number, Google Voice is free, or it is as of this making of this video. If you sign up for a Google Voice number, you can get a Google Voice number usually in the city that you live in, and you can either have that number forwarded to your regular phone, or you can just have it take messages and send you an email when you get a message, which is kind of cool, actually. So you can actually have people call your Google Voice voicemail, and you can have a specific voicemail set up just for your resume. So people can call that, leave you a message, and you'll be notified immediately, and you can call them, get the messages and call them back. So it's pretty nifty. And then if you go to, then the next thing you do is just paste that short code right here, and that causes the page to show up. So if I look at the page, so let's see, we didn't actually make any change. Oh, I did make a change. Let me update that. So I'm going to click here to view the page, and it'll take me to that contact page, and there you can see what it looks like. And so you've got the CAPTCHA down here, and sometimes that CAPTCHA changes. Sometimes it'll look like it'll be like the numbers or whatever. So it seems pretty random. I don't know how Google decides which kind of CAPTCHA to send forward, but it's pretty good, and it cuts down on the amount of spam that you get. So there's that. The next thing that we're going to do, we're going to go back in the dashboard, and this is where we're going to set up our posts. Now, the way to make this work correctly is to set up your posts and change the dates. So the dates are in order where the stuff that you want at the top of your page, the top of your resume, has a newer date than the stuff at the bottom of your resume. Now, we're also going to do categories, and because we want certain categories to we want to separate our stuff by categories, because we want to be able to give links for whoever's looking at the resume to be able to just look at your experience, or just look at your education, or just look at your certifications and whatever. But also, we want to be able for them to see the whole resume in one shot, and have all of that stuff be in the right order. So let's first set up our categories. To do that, we'll go to Post, and then go and then choose Categories. And you'll see I've already set these up, and there's really nothing to it. when you create a new category, you just create the name. The slug is basically the URL friendly version of the name. So if I click on one of these, you'll see here's the name. This is the slug. We don't need any parents for the category, and you can actually type a description if you want, but I don't think it's necessary. So now we've got. Let me go back to categories so you can see what we've got set up. So I've set up a few categories here. I've got first experience, then education, then certs, and then miscellaneous. And the miscellaneous category would be for anything else that I want on the resume that doesn't fit into one of these other categories. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a bit. So my summary of qualifications, which is well, I mean, if you looked at a resume and you see the summary of qualifications, this is the thing that I want to show up at the top of my resume. It gives the person looking at the resume a quick snapshot of what my qualifications are. Another thing about this is also a place where you can put your compelling qualifications, and your compelling qualifications are these are things that may or may not be job related or career related, but they're beneficial to you, and they help show a broader range, a broader person, for lack of a better description. So consider coming up with a list of those. In fact, if you haven't already, I've got there's a free report or free guide that I have that you can sign up for. If you go to cybercareercoach.com/free-guide, you can sign up to receive that free report. And so it talks a little bit about compelling qualifications. But anyways, so that's where you would put that. Then the thing about this, I wanted at the top of my resume. So I left that as today when I did this earlier today. So I just hit update and it'll publish that post. Also, I chose the category miscellaneous. Then hit update. The next thing is I went through and I chose and I created a new post for each employer. So my current employer, and I've got the dates, and then this is all, of course, dummy information. But what I chose to do here was I chose to change the dates for this to the start date of that employment. But looking back, this date no longer matters. So what I want is for everything to show up in a specific order. So the thing to do now would be to choose how I want this. So I can basically, every new post that I create now, I can just subtract a day. So what I could have done was just made this May 3rd, and then, or May 2nd rather, and then the next one would be May 1st. And so that way everything is in order, because the date that this was published doesn't matter. The main thing that we want to do is make sure that all of the pieces of the resume are put in a certain order. So the older an item, or the published date of an item, dictates where it goes, to the top or the bottom. The newer posts go to the top, the older posts go to the bottom. And in my testing, I found that 2 posts published on the same day don't necessarily go in the newest to oldest order. So I think at that point they might swap places, and I'm not sure how that works out, because my Hello World post may be alphabetical order at that point. I'm not really sure, but or maybe page ID order. I haven't really tested it, but I do know that it doesn't follow the same rules if the pages are posted on the same day. So make them different days. Just change the day to an earlier date for older posts or posts or parts of the resume that are further down. And again, for experience, choose the category of experience. And I created a couple of employers, and I created some education, and I created some training, And as you can see, all of the education and training are all categorized as education and training. I created some certifications. I created some awards, and I put those under certs and etc. So you can cut and paste all this information directly from your current resume onto these into these shells. So we'll pick let's pick the university one. So basically, you put the university name is probably the best thing to put in here, and then you put what your this can be formatted any way that you want it to be formatted. Again, this is just the way I formatted it. What's nice about doing this WordPress blog is that you have total control over how you want this to look. So you can set up tables, you can center the information, you can do iframes, whatever. So think about that. You can actually extend some of this information here. You'll see this WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get editor that's built into WordPress called the Tiny MCE is what it's called. And you can actually go into plugins and add new and search for some advanced editors. There's one called Tiny MCE Advanced, I think. It's these free editors that will extend the capabilities that you have. This is the basic editor, and so you can add a lot more buttons to give you a lot more control over what this stuff looks like down here. So there's that. So you want to set up these posts, and again, you want to change the date so they're in an order from newest to oldest. And then, of course, we created a contact page already. The next thing that we want to do after we've created the posts is we want to set up our menu. So to set up our menu for the page, we're going to go into Appearance, and then we're going to scroll down and choose Menu. So I think there's a default menu that's built here, and I usually just rename that default menu to Main Menu. And then I choose Categories, and I'll bring these categories over. Now, something that you need to know here, up at the top, you have this Screen Options drop down. If we click that, we want to make sure that we have the Show Advanced Menu Properties Link Target checked. If you don't check that, you won't get this option, and it's important for this one PDF link that we're going to have here. So the first thing we'll do is we'll set up the menu really fast, and the easiest way to do that, I think, is to just drag in the or to add the menu items that we want to show up. Now, I don't want this miscellaneous to show up in the menu because the only thing in that category is the job or the summary of qualifications, and it really doesn't make sense to have that alone. So there's no need to show that in our menu. So we'll just add those 3 items, and they'll show up there. And then we want to go to Pages, and we want to choose the Contact Me button, and we'll hit Add Menu, and that'll show up here. Now you'll see that we've got a PDF button, and what that is I used Microsoft Word to do it. You could use Microsoft Word. So basically, you could upload your Word document resume into your media area. So let's click on media, and you'll see that I've got a couple things. So I've got this sample resume, which is a PDF file of my resume that's uploaded. You could also upload a Word document with your resume, or any other files that are resume related. If you wanted to put, your college transcripts or something like that. These are all things that you could upload that you could allow employers to download if you chose to do that. So I uploaded this sample resume file, and simply it's in the media area, right? So if I click on this file name right here, and I go to the right-hand side, I can see the file URL. So I want to select that whole URL by clicking in that area and hit Control A, or this is easy, I could go to the beginning of it and just highlight the whole thing, right click and choose copy. Once I've got that URL saved, then or copied onto my clipboard, I can go back to appearance and menus. And the next step here is we're going to create a link. Basically, the way that works is we would type in we would paste in the URL that we want the link to go to, and then we would type in the text. In this case, it's PDF. Once that's created, we'd hit add to menu, and it would show up over here. And then here you can see the navigation label we want it to say. And then this is where we would check open link in a new window. And the reason that we're doing this is we don't want this to open up in our resume page. We want the resume to stay open, and we want to open a new window with our text resume or PDF resume. And so let me open the website. So if I go to rustysresume.com, you'll see I've got this PDF, and so when I click on that, it'll open in a new window. All of the other links will open in the same window, and that's what we want. And of course, if I click on my name, it takes me back to the full resume. And I chose not to put a link in for that because the link already exists on the page, but you could put in a link that's called home that just links back to the main URL. It would link the same, it would just go to the main URL, and it would take you back to this main sort of resume page. And then, of course, the resume opens in a new window, and you can save it or print it or whatever. So that's how that works. Now, the next thing, the next thing that we want to do after we've set that up is if we go into our, you see we've got theme options here. So the theme options is where we set up several nifty little things. So you could set up your own special logo here, and if you wanted to, that's really up to you. The footer content, this I think has a default message to begin with. It says place footer content here. You want to make sure you remove that, and then if you have some footer content that you want to add, that's where you would put that. You could change the colors. For the scheme, it's got some different color schemes that you could use. Let's see how that works really fast. So if I wanted to change the color scheme to blue, let's save that. And now let's refresh this page, and I think what we'll see is everything changes to blue. I kind of like that. I think I'll leave that alone. So these settings here allow you to change some of the settings that you got. You can change the link colors and the background colors and all that. You can change the fonts to custom fonts. You can install, they get this Google Font API. I haven't played with that much, but I guess you can install some really neat new fonts, and then you've got fonts that are built in. So it's pretty extensible. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with this particular theme, which is why I like it. And then social media. This is where you would set up your social media accounts. And as you can see, there are a lot available. I mean, a lot. And so, and you can put your email address in here. I mean, this is a great theme, period. But I think it's very well suited for this resume stuff. So it's a business card theme essentially, and it really, if you use it correctly, I think it makes a great resume website. Now that you've done all of that stuff, and you save all these settings, your website is basically live. The couple things that you can do with this. So you could, if you wanted to, create a regular home page. It's just like a landing page that has specific information, and you could even embed a video, like a YouTube video or something like that, like a video introduction. Or putting a picture on your resume can really help you seem more personal to hiring managers. People like to know what people look like. And so I think that putting your picture on your resume can be really helpful. So that's something you might consider on your regular resume as well. The other thing is, like I said, with the video, with a website, you can do so much. You can put an audio introduction that's embedded in your website. You can put a video introduction that's embedded in your website. You can link to a video slideshow or a SlideShare presentation, or there's so much that you can do when you have a website. And so that's the main reason that I recommend doing this. So anyway, that pretty much completes this tutorial. I hope you found it useful. I'm sorry if it dragged and sputtered from time to time, but I want to make sure that we covered as much information as possible. Anyways, I hope you found this tutorial useful, and hope to see you again real soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.